Hey everyone, thank you for watching. Today's video is going to be a first impression, a follow-up video, and I'm going to be reviewing products from the Too Faced Pretty Rich collection. So I do have a video trying everything out for the first time. I will have that linked down below, but as always when I do my first impressions here on my channel, I will always come back to give my full thoughts on everything, if I would recommend them, who I would recommend them for, etc. So I have the eyeshadow palette that I will be reviewing today, one of the highlighters from the collection, also the highlight brush, and then I will chat about the lip glosses as well. So if you're ready to hear my thoughts on the Too Faced Pretty Rich collection, why don't we go ahead and get started. Alrighty, so first up I'm going to talk about the eyeshadow palette, the Pretty Rich palette. This palette is $49. The packaging, I mean, very cute packaging. It's not something that I totally enjoy for myself. It's just a little bit, you know, more on the boxy side, a little bit harder to store in my collection. Inside you do get a mirror. I wish the mirror was more of like this entire thing right here, because it's just a pretty small oval mirror. I wish it was just a little bit bigger. And then inside you have all of these different shades, and you have a variety of different formulas. You do have 16 different shades in here. You have some mattes, you have some shimmer shades, and then you have some glitters. When I was first hearing about this palette, I was pretty curious to try it out because it said about these glitters that they were self-adherent glitters. To me, when I heard self-adherent glitters, I thought that you wouldn't need like a glitter, you know, primer or anything like that. Like, I thought it was just these glitters were going to go onto my eyes and just stay there. That's what I thought, and that's why I was super excited about this palette, and I was fully planning on purchasing this one for myself. I had an Ulta gift card at the time. I was waiting for it to come into Ulta and I was going to buy it, and then I actually did get sent this collection from Too Faced. So everything that I'm reviewing was sent to me in PR. As always, I'll let you know how I'm feeling though, which I was very excited about, because not only would I like to be able to review this for my channel, I genuinely wanted this palette. It was something from Too Faced that really caught my attention. Not a lot from Too Faced had been catching my attention for quite some time, so for this to get me pretty excited, I was pretty stoked about that. So what I will say for the eyeshadows in here, the mattes I do like. I don't have any issues with the mattes. I don't have any issues blending them out. I think that they have good pigmentation. What I'll say for It's Cashmere and Fancy That, they are different shades, they definitely are, but I just almost feel like they're more similar to one another than I would prefer, and I wish there was something just a little bit different in here. We also have, you know, the deep brown over here, and then we have more of like your white, which maybe that one could have been switched out for something else. I don't know. I don't mind the mattes. I don't mind the formula on them. I just wish maybe there was one more different color in there. The shimmers in here are nice, but you definitely do have to have a damp brush to work with them. I do have this palette on my eyes today. I used a mixture of It's Cashmere and Fancy That. On the, like, as my crease shade, I put a little bit of Oh That's Rich on the outer corner. I have set the jewel tone all over the lid, and then I mixed a combination of Diamonds for Breakfast and Diamond Life on the inner part of my eye for the glitter. So that is what I have on my eyes today. Other than that, I've tried every single shade on my eyes except for this dark one, the Coal Under Pressure. That's the only one that I haven't actually applied to my eyes. Other than that, everything has gone on my eyes. I've tried out all the glitters. I did a look in my Best of Beauty 2018 video with this palette, so I'll put that one on the screen using the gold glitter, and I loved that eye look. I thought it was really beautiful. But like I was saying, for the shimmers, I do think that you need to have a damp brush to go in with it, otherwise they are pretty lackluster. And this is a $49 palette, so that's pretty expensive, and the majority of shades in here are more of those shimmer shades. So, you know, having to have a damp brush, it's something that doesn't overly impress me, because I have palettes in my collection that are less expensive than this that I don't have to do that for. I don't mind spraying my brush because I pretty much just do every single time, but I know not everybody wants to do that. I know not everybody has, you know, sprays or whatnot to be able to use with their brush, so it's always something that I do like to point out. So I did want to say that, but for otherwise for the shimmer shades, I like them. Once you build them up, once you play with them, once you use your damp brush, they are nice. The glitters I do think are really pretty. I like all of the glitters in here. Like I said, I've used all of them on my eyes, and I think that they're all really beautiful. You definitely need to use some sort of glitter shadow, glitter primer, glitter glue, etc. You definitely want to use that with the glitters because it will help them stick. I don't know what I don't know what the self-adhering was supposed to be. I don't know if I just took that the wrong way or what happened there. But even when you get this palette, it says it right on the box to use a glitter primer with the glitter shadows. So I did want to say that. I tried it out both ways just to see a difference. Definitely, I feel like the glitter obviously sticks better to my eyelids when I used my glitter glue, and also it really helps it stay in place. I will say I've tried this with my e.l.f. glitter glue and also my glitter glue from MBA Cosmetics, and I had the same experience both times where I have worn these glitters on my eyes for several hours, and I've gotten almost zero fallout onto my face. Even when applying it, I get very little fallout on my face, but through several hours of wear, you know, there's a little bit here and there, but honestly, especially when I wore this gold look not too long ago and I wore Fluent in diamonds all over my lid, I had maybe one speck of glitter on my face after like 9 hours or something, 9-10 hours of wearing this eyeshadow. I went out all night with it, and I thought that it was fantastic. So I don't have a lot of issues with the glitters, and I think that they're really beautiful. I kind of wish like maybe there was another glitter in here or something, you know, maybe take away one of those shimmers or something, like take away a shimmer, add another glitter, add a different matte shade, and I think that I would really like this palette. So with all that being said about the palette, would I recommend it? And this is one that I kind of went back and forth on because I'm like, I like it, I don't absolutely love it. I really enjoy that I like the glitters so much. I don't think that they're the absolute easiest glitters ever to work with. I kind of like using the liquid glitters more, the Stila glitters. I don't know, I just think that they're easier. They're not as time consuming as this. There's not as many steps, you know, that you need with this, but I also understand that liquid glitters won't be for everybody. I feel like I'm not super inspired by this palette as well, and I think it's something to do with like the shade selection in here. I feel like unless I'm going in for the glitters, I'm going to get similar looks out of this palette. So the glitters are really the standout to me. So if you don't like glitter and you don't see yourself using the glitters in this palette, I would not suggest this for you for sure. But I would also say I wouldn't buy it just for the glitters. Does that make sense? Like, you can buy a single glitter, you can buy the liquid, you know, glitter shadows, etc. So again, it's a nice palette. I think that it's good. I think it has its pros. I think it has its cons. So would I recommend it? If you really desire this palette and you think that you're going to get a lot of use out of it and you're really going to, you know, love on the glitters, then you would probably like it, but it's not something that I'm like, I think everybody needs to go get this palette. You know, there's certain palettes that come out that all of a sudden everybody's talking about, everybody's excited for. You know, it's coming up in so many favorites videos and you keep seeing it used over and over again. I don't see that happening with this palette, so I don't feel like it's like you have to run out and grab it. I like that it's a little bit more unique. Again, I can see myself continuing to use this, especially for these glitter shades, so I see myself going back into this palette for sure. If I would have bought it myself at the $49, I think I still would have been happy with it. I think that I still would have kept it versus returning it, but it might be one where I'm like, oh, am I gonna get my full $49 worth out of this? Maybe not. You know, maybe if this goes on sale or you have your 20% off at Ulta, or, you know, a Sephora sale's coming up, grab it at a discount and maybe you would like it. But that's kind of my thoughts on the Pretty Rich palette. I like it. I don't love it, but it's all right, you know, it's all right. Okay, so moving on, I hope that all made sense. Moving on, I have one of the highlighters. So this is the Diamond Light Diamond Fire Highlight. So the packaging is quite intense because you have a box here, and then when you open it up, you have another box, so that's fun. These highlights are $34. That is very expensive. I mean, my Natasha Denona highlight that I love so much is $38. I think $38 is the highest I've ever paid for a highlighter, so $34 is right underneath that. So I was pretty curious about this highlight with having such a high price tag. So this is what the highlight looks like, and I can try to do a swatch of it here. I do have swatches in my original video as well of like the eyeshadow palette and all of that. I mean, I don't know if you can tell from that swatch that this is a very underwhelming highlight, especially for me. I love a more blinding highlight. I say it in so many videos. I'm not someone who reaches for a subtle highlight, and this one for me just really doesn't do much of anything on my skin. It kind of leaves more of that iridescent, like a pink iridescent on me, but I really had to build it up. I was working really hard in my first impressions video to build it up, and I just wasn't getting it just wasn't really doing much. It's a little bit more powdery on the skin. I wouldn't say that it showed a lot of texture or anything like that. Just a little bit more powdery, but again, it's just so subtle that I would not pay $34 for this. And if you are someone who's into a subtle highlight, to me, I just feel like there's so many good, like affordable highlighters out there that if you just want a little something, like I can understand paying more money to really get like a bam, you know, booming effect on your face, but if you just want a little glow, there's so many more affordable options that you can reach for. So I really can't recommend this particular highlight at all. I'm not wearing this highlight today because honestly, you know, I've worn it a couple times. I've tried it out to be able to get my review together, and then I'm like, okay, I know my thoughts. Like, I don't really want to wear that again because I just don't feel like it does anything. So that is not the highlight that you see on my face today. So unfortunately, this one was a no-go for me. Now, I also did try out the highlight brush. This is the Diamond Light Highlighting Brush. So it looks like this. It's kind of like the little dome shape here. This is a $30 brush. I was pretty curious about this. $30 is, you know, pretty pricey for a highlighting brush. And when I was, you know, first applying the highlight and I was applying it with this brush, I was like, okay, is it the brush that's like making this more subtle, or is it the actual highlight? It is the actual highlight, but I also don't find this to be a good highlighting brush. This isn't a brush that I normally would go for. Like, I like my Sigma FO3. I like the Mono Metallics has a good highlighter brush, you know, more of like a tapered brush. I like not something like this. I look at this and I think more of like contour. Like, I'm getting right in there with the contours. I don't look at this and think highlight. It's a little bit more on the dense side. You know, I've tried this with some of my favorite highlighters just to see, you know, was I just using it with the Too Faced highlight, which I just don't think is good in general, but I've used it with some of my favorite highlighters and I just don't, I don't see this being a very good highlighting brush. I wouldn't recommend it for highlight. I don't think it picks up the product very nicely. It really didn't do much for me. So $30 for a highlighting brush, I would say that you could definitely skip over this from the Pretty Rich collection. And finally, I want to talk about the glosses that I tried out in the video. Now, these glosses are $21 each. Now, I do a series on my channel every single month called Lip Picks, where I am picking out my top 5 and also my bottom 5 lip products that I wore in the previous month throughout my YouTube videos, because I do generally post every single day or at least 6 days a week. So I have a lot of different lip products to choose from. Pick out, you know, 5 of my absolute faves and talk about why they were my favorites, and then I also do pick out the bottom 5 category. I did recently post that video, so I will have it linked down below because I do put these in the bottom 5 category. Now, for me personally, I'm not a big lip gloss girl. I'm finally saying that, where I'm not wearing a lip gloss. Woo, because that always happens in my videos. I'm not drawn towards lip glosses a ton. So that definitely has something to do with it. But also, these lip glosses are really, really glittery. When I was trying them out in the first video, I was saying how much actual like glitter they have in there in the product, and I'm just not a huge fan of that. I didn't mind the way they felt on my lips. They weren't like the most comfortable gloss I've ever tried. They weren't like overly goopy, overly sticky. I couldn't really feel a lot of the glitter in them, which was nice, but they definitely looked very glittery. But my issue was, because I did try on all 3 on my lips in that video, I really struggled to get this off my lips. It's very, very hard to remove at the end of the night. I've worn all of these glosses, you know, multiple times since that video, and I just dread taking my makeup off at the end of the night because I'm really having to like scrub at my lips, which I don't really appreciate, and then I kind of get glitter like around me. So it's hard to remove this. If you love glitter and glitter is your thing and you want glitter all over your body, including on your lips, I mean, you would probably really, really like these. Just my personal makeup preferences, and if you are not a fan of glitter on your lips, then I would say to stay away from them. So I will say, out of the 3 glosses, I do like the Jordan Woods the most, but again, I don't see myself wearing these a lot. I think that they look pretty, like the final result is pretty on the lips, and I do like that they're more of that glittery effect. I just wish it wasn't actual glitter in there. You know what I mean? Like, I like the look of it. I just don't like that it's actually glitter on my lips, if that makes any sort of sense. So this one here is in Sunset Crush. So it's kind of like a very light pink, and it has some almost like green and gold iridescent in there. And then this next one is Pretty Penny, which is darker, more of like your bronze with glitter. So that one there is in Pretty Penny. And then the final one is the collab with Jordan Woods, and this one is in Social Butterfly. Again, probably my favorite color on the lips, but again, I don't see myself really reaching for these. You know, once I was getting done with my review period, I just don't see myself reaching for these a ton. They're just really not my my preference. So unfortunately, that is kind of what I feel about the lip glosses. Again, if you love glitter glosses, I think that you would like these, but I don't really find them to be anything like overly special. Again, coming from not necessarily a lip gloss lover, but I just didn't really see anything super special about these, and I just feel like for me the cons really do outweigh the pros with the lip glosses. So unfortunately, this collection was a bit of a miss for me. You know, out of everything, definitely the eyeshadow palette is the one that I like the most, but again, I don't feel like it's something that everybody needs in their collection, and I don't feel like it's something that you need to like run out and grab right away. You know, if you love glitter, you'll probably like this collection. I'm a bit, you know, I can take it or leave it. Sometimes I like it on my eyes, but it's not necessarily a go-to for me, and I would prefer not to have it on my lips. The highlight was a pretty big letdown for me as well, because I was really expecting big things with that. But overall, those are my thoughts on the collection. I would love to know, have you guys tried out the Pretty Rich collection from Too Faced? What do you think? What are some of your standout products? What didn't work for you? I would love to hear it in the comments down below. I really hope my review helped you out. Let me know what you thought, of course. And as always, if you guys did enjoy this video, I hope that you'll give it a thumbs up. I hope that you'll also consider subscribing before you go. And I'll catch you guys in tomorrow's video. Bye.